The Galactic Council station hovered in silent orbit above a dying blue star. Inside its grand chamber, hundreds of alien delegates sat in curved rows, their eyes glowing, blinking, or shifting with growing tension. They had been summoned without warning. No agenda, no explanation. Only one message from the High Speaker. This concerns the survival of the galaxy. No one breathed easily after hearing that. The chamber lights dimmed as the center doors opened. 2 council guards marched in, armor cracked and scorched as if they had walked through fire. Between them floated a medical pod carrying a single alien scout, his skin pale, his breathing shallow, his mind clearly broken by fear. The guards placed the pod at the center and stepped away. High Speaker Varuan rose from his seat. His long silver tendrils trembled as he spoke. "Officer Lether, you are the only survivor of Expedition 912. Report." The scout's eyes snapped open. He shook violently and tried to sit up. "No. You must not make me speak it. The name must stay buried." Murmurs spread across the chamber. A few delegates laughed nervously. A few stared with dread. Varuan motioned gently. "Calm yourself. Begin at the start." Lether swallowed hard. His voice cracked like broken metal. "We found a planet at the edge of the Orion Spur, a small world. Blue skies, white clouds, primitive satellites around it. Your report said it was harmless." "Yes," Varuan said. "Earth, newly discovered. Level 1 civilization." Lether screamed. "Do not call it that." Every delegate froze. The scout reached into his burnt uniform with shaking hands and pulled out a small data crystal. "Play it," he whispered. "But once you see, you cannot unsee." Varuan hesitated, then signaled for the archive master to connect the crystal. The lights cut out. The chamber became a dark sphere. A hologram flashed to life in the center. At first it showed peaceful images. Cities glowing at night, oceans moving like silver cloth. Humans walking on crowded streets, laughing, living, fighting, surviving. The council watched with mild interest. "Primitive," muttered one delegate. "Unorganized, emotionally unstable." Then the images changed. A monstrous creature, a thing made of black lightning and living metal, rose from the horizon. It tore open the sky like paper. Every species in the chamber recognized it instantly. A void titan, the kind of creature that had ended entire planets. The chamber gasped, but the hologram did not show a destroyed world. Instead, it showed small, fragile humans running toward the beast, not away from it. Soldiers fired weapons. Scientists operated strange devices. Civilians helped each other escape danger, even while the creature advanced. "Impossible," whispered a delegate. "No level 1 species can face that." The hologram showed the Titan falling, collapsing after a brilliant explosion created by humans working together. The image froze on a human rescue worker pulling strangers from rubble, wounded, but still fighting. Lether spoke softly. "That was the first sign." The hologram shifted again. More images. More battles. Humans fighting horrors older than history. Humans surviving planets that should kill them. Humans pushing through fear, pain, exhaustion with the kind of strength no species had ever recorded. A long silence fell as the final image appeared. A human child standing before an alien war beast, staring it down with fearless eyes. Lether whispered, "This species, they are born from storms." Varuan's voice cracked. "But what frightened you enough to destroy your entire fleet?" Lether closed his eyes, trembling. "We discovered something hidden, deep in their old languages. A name, not the name they use now, but their true name." All lights in the chamber flickered. According to Forbidden's Council records, Lether continued, there was once an ancient warrior race, a species that survived when galaxies burned, a species called He looked around the room, as if saying it might summon something terrible. The Dreadborn. The chamber erupted into shouts. That is only a legend. A myth to scare children. That species never existed. Your translation must be wrong. But the scout shook his head. We match the DNA markers. Humans are the same species the ancients feared. The same warriors who survived the first dark. The same beings who destroy monsters by standing together. Earth's real name is the Dreadborn cradle. An icy silence spread through the room. Varun lowered himself slowly into his seat. If this is true, then humanity is not a primitive species. They are a sleeping power. A tall reptilian delegate hissed. If they awaken, the galaxy will fall. Another delegate slammed the table. Then we must strike first. The chamber filled with fear, anger, and panic. In the middle of the chaos, the hologram flickered again, uncommanded. A final message appeared. A human voice, calm, confident. We know we are not alone anymore. The chamber froze. How did they send this? Someone whispered, they have found us. And with that, dread gripped every heart in the galaxy. Asterisk. The Galactic Council chamber stayed silent long after the human message ended. No one dared speak first. The air felt heavy, as if the old legends themselves were listening from the shadows. High Speaker Varun finally rose. His voice trembled, something rare for a leader who had negotiated peace during Star Wars and survived the fall of 3 empires. Officer Lether, you claim humans are the Dreadborn. A species lost to time. A species the ancients feared. Lether nodded weakly. Yes, High Speaker. Everything matches. A cold murmur spread through the delegates. Some hid their fear. Others did not bother pretending. Varun turned toward the council archivist. Bring the Forbiddance records. The archivist froze. Sir, those documents are sealed. Even council members are denied access. Bring them, Varun repeated. Our galaxy may depend on it. The archivist bowed, then hurried away. Lether closed his eyes as if he wanted the moment to pass. Once you see the truth, there is no going back. Minutes later, the archivist returned, carrying a black cube covered in ancient runes. Everyone shifted uncomfortably. The cube was older than the council itself, older than every civilization in the room. Varun placed his hands over the cube. It glowed faintly, responding to his authority. The runes unfolded like petals of a dark flower, revealing holographic scrolls and star maps lost for entire ages. The first scroll showed a shape, a humanoid figure surrounded by flames. Archivist Thesa spoke in a quiet, trembling voice. This is the oldest known drawing in our history. It depicts the Dreadborn, the warrior species that survived the first dark. One delegate scoffed. This cannot be humans. Look at the figure, it is much taller. Thesa zoomed in. The ancients drew their heroes larger than life. Study what is real. The eyes, the posture, the bone structure. It matches human anatomy perfectly. The chamber filled with uneasy shifting. Another delegate leaned forward. Explain the name. How is Earth connected? Thesa opened a star map, dusty, cracked, and incomplete. A faint red symbol glowed in the corner, a star cluster that no longer existed. The ancient map calls this region the Cradle of Embers, the birthplace of the Dreadborn. She traced the map slowly, like uncovering a ghost. And if you follow the old star patterns, the Cradle of Embers points to the Orion Spur. The council froze. Varun whispered, to Earth. Lether nodded. Yes, their homeworld was always here. They simply forgot. Time erased their old name. A tentacled delegate slammed his chair backward. Impossible. The Dreadborn destroyed Void Titans with bare hands. Humans could never. Lether cut him off. You saw them. They run toward danger. They survive impossible environments. Their minds adapt faster than any known species. Their bodies heal quickly. Their unity grows under pressure. He shivered. They remind me of those old stories. Too much. Archivist Thesa opened another scroll, this one darker, showing entire star systems burning. This is the first dark, she explained. When the Void Titans roamed the galaxy, every empire fell. Every species ran. But one species did not run. The scroll showed a line of human-like figures standing in front of a dying star, holding back a Titan with strange weaponry and raw determination. The Dreadborn stood their ground, Thesa said. They fought until the Titans retreated. Until the dark ended. The chamber felt colder. A reptilian delegate whispered, "If humans truly carried Dreadborn blood, what woke their old power now?" No one had an answer. Varun studied the scrolls carefully. These records say the Dreadborn disappeared, not died. They vanished after the first dark ended. No bodies found. No ruins. Only silence. Thesa's eyes widened. Maybe they hid. Maybe they slept. Maybe they started again without memories. Lether nodded. Earth's early history shows gaps. Strange jumps in technology. Myths of gods who looked human. Stories of ancient wars fought against monsters that do not exist today. Varun looked troubled. And what if humanity has not reached their full strength yet? What if what we see now is only the beginning? A chilling silence answered him. Suddenly, sirens blared through the chamber. The protective shields around the station activated with a deep metallic hum. A guard rushed in. "Hi, Speaker. We found something in the data crystal. Something hidden behind encryption." "Show it," Varun ordered. The hologram flickered again. A new symbol appeared, an older version of Earth's star map. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Thesa inhaled sharply. "That is the Dreadborn insignia." The symbol brightened. A deep voice echoed through the chamber, ancient, metallic. "Not human. The cradle has awakened." The hologram ended. No one moved. No one spoke. The archivist whispered, "This message. It is not from humans." Varun's eyes widened. "Then who?" "Something older," Thesa answered. "Something that has been waiting for the Dreadborn to rise again." Cold dread filled every corner of the chamber. Varun's voice broke the silence. "If humanity is awakening, then the galaxy must choose. Will we stand with them or against them?" No one answered, but every delegate knew one thing. The galaxy had changed forever. Asterisk. The Galactic Council did not sleep that night. The message, the symbol, the ancient voice, everything pointed to one truth. Humanity was not what the galaxy thought. By dawn cycle, the Council voted on a desperate plan, one that could risk everything. They would send an undercover team to Earth. Not to attack, not to warn, but to observe. To learn what humans truly were. If they were dangerous, the Council needed to know. If they were allies, the galaxy needed to understand. And if the ancient legends were real, then every species needed to prepare. The team chosen for the mission was small but skilled. Arix, a stealth scout with skin that shifted colors. Cerna, a healer who could sense emotions. Kellen, a data specialist who feared nothing except humans. Commander Viral, the leader, calm and sharp as a frozen blade. They traveled in a disguised civilian shuttle, quiet and unthreatening. From a distance, it looked like scrap metal drifting through space, just like hundreds of human satellites, already around Earth. As they approached orbit, Arix whispered, "Humans have no idea how open their planet is. No shields, no cloaking, no defenses." Viral shook his head. "Do not underestimate them. We have already made that mistake." They descended through the atmosphere. Fire lit the shuttle's hull, clouds blurred past, and soon they entered the sky above a vast city. New York. Callan stared through the window. So many humans. Millions. How do they not tear each other apart? Serna smiled softly. Because they feel more than any species I've ever sensed. Their emotions are loud, powerful, but mostly hopeful. Eric's frowned. Hope is not a strategy. Serna looked out again. Maybe for humans it is. They landed invisibly on a quiet rooftop, activated cloaking fields, and stepped onto Earth for the first time. Remember, Commander Viral said, we observe. No contact. But Earth had other plans. Only minutes after landing, the team felt a strange vibration beneath their feet. The ground trembled. A distant boom echoed across the city. Eric's tensed. Is this an attack? Callan checked his scanner. No, this is normal. Humans call it construction. Serna laughed. This planet is chaos. They moved through crowds, blending and using advanced hologram suits that made them look human. They watched people argue, laugh, run, get lost, help each other, and complain loudly about weather, prices, and traffic. Eric's tilted his head. They waste energy on everything. Viral corrected him. No, they invest energy into everything. But their true test began an hour later. A loud alarm blared across the street, smoke rising from a building. Humans ran in every direction. Some fled, many screamed. Children cried, but something shocked the team. A group of humans ran toward the danger. Firefighters pushed through the smoke. Civilians formed a chain to help people escape. A woman used her own coat to shield a stranger. A man broke a car window with his bare hands to pull trapped children out. Viral felt something tighten in his chest. Why do they risk their lives? This is not logical. Serna closed her eyes. Because they cannot watch others suffer. Their empathy burns like a star. Eric's whispered, this is what scared Officer Lether. This courage. The team watched a human firefighter run back into the burning building, even though everyone shouted for him to stop. Callan said quietly, he knows he may die. Viral lowered his voice. Yet he goes. Without hesitation. Minutes later, the firefighter stumbled out, carrying a stranger on his back. Smoke covered his face. Fear shook his hands. But his eyes held something else, determination. Rix stepped back. No other species would do this. Serna exhaled. This is why their legends say humans face the Titans. They do not break. They rise. The building collapsed behind them with a thunderous roar. Humans cried out. Some fell to their knees. Others held each other. But no one gave up hope. Callan whispered, their bodies are fragile. But their spirits are not. Viral nodded. I think we have seen our answer. But fate was not done with them. As they prepared to leave, a small human child wandered toward them, holding a stuffed animal. She stared at the four disguised aliens with innocent curiosity. Serna panicked. She sees us. No, Viral said. She sees only our disguise. The child pointed at Eric's. You're sad, she said softly. Why are you sad? Eric's froze. He had been trained his whole life to hide emotion, yet this small human saw something true in him. Serna whispered, their empathy. It reaches even past our cloaking. The child smiled and handed Eric's the stuffed toy. You can hold him. He helps when people are scared. Eric's elite scout, master of stealth, veteran of 10 wars, took the toy with shaking hands. The child's mother called her, and she ran off without fear. Eric's whispered, voice breaking, this species is not meant to be alone. Viral stepped back. We have seen enough. The council must know. They returned to their shuttle. Silent, shaken as they lifted off into the sky. Earth glowed beneath them, blue bright. Alive, Viral whispered the words no alien commander had ever dared to say. Humans. Maybe the only hope this galaxy has. But far beyond Earth, hidden deep in the void, another presence awakened, one that had waited eons for the Dreadborn to rise. And it was listening. Asterisk, the return of Commander Varel's team shook the Galactic Council more than any enemy fleet ever had. The 4 operatives stood before the chamber, silent, pale, still trying to understand what they had witnessed on Earth. High Speaker Varuan looked at them carefully. Tell the Council, are humans truly dangerous? Viral did not answer immediately. He remembered the firefighter, the collapsing building, the child who read Eric's emotions through a perfect disguise. He remembered how humans did not run from danger, they ran into it. Finally he spoke. Humans are not dangerous because of their weapons. They are dangerous because of their hearts. Whispers filled the room. What does that mean? Are they emotional? Unstable? Do they carry the ancient power? Viral continued. Humans protect each other with a strength I have never seen. They suffer together. They survive together. And when one falls, 10 rise to take their place. This is not weakness. This is the core of who they are. Lether, the scout who first warned the Council, nodded slowly. Yes, this is why the ancients feared them. The Council chamber erupted. Some delegates trembled with fear. Some with anger. Some with awe, but no one stayed silent, while the Council argued. Panic spread across the galaxy. In the Karen Empire, the Empress closed her claws tightly around her throne. She hissed to her generals, if the Dreadborn blood flows in humans, then we must strike before they remember who they are. Her fleets began to move. On the Talnari moon states, scientists studied every human signal they could intercept. When they saw how fast humans learned, even simple things like repairing machines or treating wounds, they whispered, if this is their level now, what will they become in 100 years? Fear spread like fire through their laboratories. In the Var Dominion, warlords who once laughed at Earth now spoke cautiously. Do not approach the human system. Do not provoke them. If they awaken fully, we will not survive. For the first time in centuries, pirate activity near Earth completely stopped. Not out of peace. Out of fear. Back in the Council chamber, the debate grew louder. We must warn all planets. No, panic will spread. Humanity must be contained. No. That could awaken their warrior side. We must attack before they evolve further. We must ally with them before the Titans return. Varuan's tendrils trembled as he tried to regain control. Silence, he demanded. A delegate from the fragile Fesh species stood up, shaking so hard his voice cracked. High Speaker, our ancestors wrote about the Dreadborn. They said the Dreadborn only rise when the galaxy is in danger. Thesa, the archivist, turned sharply. What danger? The Fesh delegate looked around nervously. They said the Dreadborn awaken only when the void stirs again. The room chilled instantly. Varel stepped forward. We found something else. Something deeper in the data crystal. A presence. A voice. It spoke the ancient name of Earth. Thesa's eyes widened. But that voice was not human. Viral nodded slowly. No, it was something older. Something watching. Panic rippled through the chamber. Varuan felt cold dread crawl through him. If something ancient is calling to Earth, then humans may not have a choice in awakening. It may already be happening. Meanwhile, far from the Council, the quiet shadow of a fleet drifted through dark space. The Karen Empire's war armada. 200 battleships. 12 dreadnoughts. Enough firepower to reduce a young civilization to dust. Their admiral, a reptilian giant named Scareth, bared his fangs. Humans must be crushed before they learn the truth. Before the rest of the galaxy bows to them. A smaller officer trembled. But Admiral, attacking Earth may provoke the Council, Scareth snarled. Let the Council tremble. Let them argue. We act. The fleet changed course, heading straight toward Sol System. Back in the council, Eric suddenly stood stiff, eyes wide, hand pressed to his earpiece. "Commander. Incoming transmission." Viral frowned. "From where?" Eric swallowed. "From the Karen fleet. They are moving toward Earth. At full speed." The chamber exploded into chaos. "They will start a war. Earth will fight back. Humans do not lose easily. This will awaken them." Varun slammed his staff on the floor, making the chamber shake. "Send a message to the Karen Empire. Order them to stop." A messenger drone flew down from the chamber ceiling, glowing red. Message rejected. The Karen Empire has declared the Council too slow and too afraid. They will eliminate Earth themselves. Thesa whispered, "If they attack. If they provoke the sleeping power." Viral finished her thought quietly. "Then the Dreadborn will rise." A deep silence fell. Everyone knew what that meant. This was no longer fear. This was a countdown, and Earth unaware. Unprepared. Innocent was next on the target list of the greatest. War machine in 3-star sectors. But the galaxy had forgotten one thing. Humans never stay innocent for long. Asterisk Earth had no idea that a massive alien armada was cutting through the darkness of space, heading straight for the solar system. No warnings. No diplomacy. No chance to prepare. Humans continued their normal lives, working, hoping, joking. Surviving unaware that an empire believed they were the rebirth of a legendary warrior race. But space was not silent. At the edge of the Kuiper belt, sensors on a small human observatory satellite flashed red. The satellite belonged to a group of scientists who normally searched for comets. That day, they found something else. A cluster of gigantic objects appeared on their screens, objects moving fast, giving off enormous power signatures. Dr. Elena Cross stared at the readings. That is not a comet." Her assistant leaned forward. "Could it be military? A test?" Elena shook her head. "No human ship is that big." The shapes grew clearer. 12 dreadnoughts. Hundreds of warships. A fleet large enough to erase Earth. Elena whispered, "We are not alone." Meanwhile, the Karen Empire's fleet entered the outer system. Admiral Scareth stood on the bridge of his flagship, claws tapping on the metal railing. "Prepare weapons. Do not fire yet. We will scan their defenses first." One officer looked uneasy. "Admiral, what if the legends are true? What if humans are?" Scareth growled. "If they are Dreadborn, then we must strike even faster, before they remember who they are." The officers fell silent. Back on Earth, the first confirmation arrived at a hidden military base. General Monroe stared at the live feed with disbelief. That is a fleet." The communications chief swallowed hard. "Sir, they are not answering any messages." Monroe took a slow breath. "Put every defense station at alert, quietly, no panic." The humans moved fast. They always did. Civilian satellites were quietly moved. Military bases activated old systems that had never been used before. Pilots were scrambled for a reason they could not yet be told. Humanity had always feared being alone in the universe. Now they feared something worse, not being alone at all. At the Galactic Council, panic grew with every new report. Viral said, "We must warn Earth. They do not know what is coming." Varun nodded. "Send a message through the emergency relay." But the relay activated on its own. A new hologram appeared. A human. A military operator. Sweat on his forehead. Eyes wide but steady. "We detected your signal. And we detected the incoming fleet. If you have information, send it now." The council froze. Humans had intercepted their secret communication channel, something even advanced species struggled to do. Viral spoke first. "Human operator, you are being targeted by an alien empire. They believe your species holds an ancient power. They fear you." The human stared for a moment, then said quietly, "Understood." No panic, no shock, no fear, just readiness. The Karen fleet reached the orbit of Neptune. Admiral Scareth raised his arm. "All ships prepare for the first strike." But before he could give the order, a single message appeared on his screen, a human frequency. A simple text, "You should leave." Scareth laughed. "They dare warn us?" The message repeated, "Turn back." Last warning. Scareth bared his fangs. "Fire the first wave." The first attack began with 12 Karen missiles streaking across space at impossible speed. Designed to shatter cities. Built to create fear. But humans had no time for fear. The missiles entered the orbit of Jupiter and vanished, not destroyed. Jammed. Human engineers had activated a deep space defense program meant for asteroids, not alien weapons. But humans were creative. They adapted systems faster than any species. The program hacked the missiles. Mid-flight, Viral watched the feed in shock. They took control of alien weapons? Thesa whispered, "No." They bent the technology. Rewrote the code. On the Karen flagship, alarms blared. "Admiral, our missiles have changed course." The missiles spun around and headed straight back toward the Karen fleet. Scareth roared, "Shields up." The explosions shook the entire armada. Several ships were damaged. 2 were destroyed. The humans had not fired a single shot, but the Karen Empire was not finished. Scareth shouted, "All ships full assault." A storm of energy beams and plasma bolts rained toward Earth. Humanity responded again, fast, clever, unpredictable. They launched decoys that mimicked civilian satellites. They scrambled experimental drones faster than they could update the manuals. And they fired a prototype railgun that had never been tested in real combat. The railgun shot tore through the void like lightning. It struck Scareth's second command, ship destroying it instantly. Viral watched the destruction with awe. "They think humans are weak because their technology is young," he whispered. "But humans fill the gaps with creativity, with instinct, with fire." Thesa nodded. "This is why the ancients feared them." On Earth, General Monroe stood tall as the battle lit up the sky. "They came to frighten us," he said quietly. "But we are done being afraid." Human pilots launched from Earth, heading straight into the unknown. Their hearts pounded, but their courage burned brighter. The first interstellar battle in human history had begun, and humanity refused to fall. The Karen Empire had expected an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something else. Something they had forgotten. The spirit of the Dreadborn, and the galaxy was about to witness what humans could do when pushed into a corner. Asterisk. The battle in the outer solar system raged on. Human ships, small and fast, darted between the Karen war vessels like sparks dancing around the bonfire. Admiral Scareth watched the chaos with growing frustration. "These humans fight like they have nothing to lose," he growled. "They should be afraid." But they weren't. Human pilots fought with stubborn courage. Human engineers rewired systems while under fire. Human commanders shouted orders with a calmness that made even hardened alien officers uneasy. Scareth clenched his claws. "This is not skill. This is instinct." On Earth, hidden deep under a mountain, the Global Defense Council gathered around a large holographic table. Scientists, generals, analysts, they all watched the battle feed with tight jaws. Dr. Alana Cross, the first scientist who spotted the fleet, pointed at strange patterns in the alien attacks. "They are testing our strength," she said. "They fear us." General Monroe nodded slowly. "They think we're something ancient, something dangerous." Elena hesitated. "And what if they're right?" The room fell silent. "What exactly are we?" she whispered. No one answered. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council, Viral and Thesa monitored the same battle. Thesa looked shaken. This is not normal human behavior, she whispered. They should be overwhelmed. But they are adapting with every minute. Every attack makes them stronger. Viral frowned. We saw this on Earth. Humans grow under pressure. They rise in danger. Thesis stepped back from the screen. What if this is the awakening? The Dreadborn instinct. The ancient memory returning. Viral felt cold dread wrap around his heart. If that is true, then the galaxy is about to change. Back near Neptune, something strange happened. A Karen dreadnought fired a massive plasma beam toward a human cruiser. It should have destroyed the human ship instantly, but before the beam reached the cruiser, it bent, as if pulled by invisible hands, and curved harmlessly into space. Scarif's officers panicked. Admiral! The blast changed direction. That shouldn't be possible. Something interfered. Scarif bared his fangs. What technology did they use? But his science officer shook her head in terror. Admiral, this was not technology. She swallowed. It was a gravitational shift. Scarif froze. No human machine can do that. The officer whispered, then it wasn't a machine. On Earth, a young pilot named Marcus Reed felt his body shake after the near hit. His heart raced. His hands trembled, but something else stirred inside him. Something old, something cold and bright at the same time. For a moment, he heard a voice inside his mind. A whisper not human. Rise, child of the cradle. Marcus gasped and gripped the controls. What was that? But there was no time to think. Another alien fighter dove toward him, and instinct took over. He dodged with impossible precision. He fired before thinking. He struck the enemy ship in a perfect arc, a move no human had ever been trained to make. His commander shouted through the radio, Reed, where did you learn that maneuver? Marcus stared at his shaking hands. I didn't learn it. It just happened. Viral saw the maneuver through the council feed and felt his stomach drop. That technique is in the Forbiddance records, he whispered. It was used by the Dreadborn during the First Dark. Thesis' eyes widened. Their memories are returning. Viral shook his head in disbelief. This is only one human. Imagine what happens when millions awaken. The council chamber fell silent with fear. In the vacuum of space, something ancient stirred, watching the battle with interest. A massive shape, hidden deep in the darkness beyond Pluto, shifted like a sleeping god awakening. It was not a ship, not a creature, not a machine. It was all three. A relic from the First Dark, the sentinel of embers that had been dormant for ages, waiting for a signal from the Dreadborn bloodline. Now it felt that signal pulsing from humanity. A low hum rippled across space. Humans felt it in their bones. Aliens felt it in their fears. Scarif felt it too. What is that tremor? He demanded. No one could answer. On Earth, Marcus felt the humming echo inside his skull. His eyes glowed faintly, just for a moment, gold like molten metal. He whispered, something is calling. General Monroe heard dozens of similar reports from other pilots. Some heard whispers. Some felt sudden bursts of strength. Some moved with unnatural reflexes. Monroe stared at Elena. Doctor, is this evolution? Elena whispered, no, this feels like memory. General Monroe clenched his fists. If something ancient is waking inside us, we need to know why. Elena nodded slowly. And what it wants. At the council, a distress beacon suddenly lit up the main screen. Coordinates appeared. Far beyond Pluto. Viral frowned. What is sending that signal? Thesa, pale, whispered, that is a Dreadborn code. Viral said, something near Earth is activating. Something old. Thesa nodded slowly. The truth is awakening. Viral whispered the words everyone feared, and humanity is awakening with it. The galaxy held its breath. Because whatever was calling humanity, whatever was rising in the void, was not finished. Asterisk, the hum from the void grew louder, felt not with ears, but deep inside bones. Across the solar system, humans stopped mid-breath. Pilots gripped their controls. Soldiers froze. Scientists stared at their screens with wide eyes. Something ancient, something powerful, was waking up, and it was calling humanity far beyond Pluto. The darkness shifted. The enormous shape hidden in the void, the sentinel of embers, fully opened its golden eyes for the first time in thousands of years. Its metal flesh body glowed with lines of molten orange. Stardust fell from its wings like sparks. Old runes lit up across its surface. The first, protector of the Dreadborn, had returned. It broadcast a message across the solar system. The voice was deep, layered, and impossibly old. The children of the cradle have awakened. I rise to serve. Humanity trembled. Aliens panicked, and Admiral Scareth felt pure terror. He shouted, "Fire everything! Destroy that thing before," but he was too late. The Sentinel moved, not fast, not slow, just unstoppable. It passed through the Karen fleet like a burning comet. Its energy field ignited every ship it touched, tearing metal like paper. It struck no humans. It harmed no Earth satellites. It was designed long ago to protect the Dreadborn species. And today, that meant protecting humanity. On Earth, Marcus Reed felt heat bloom in his chest. His eyes flashed gold again. The whisper returned, "Stand, Dreadborn." He wasn't alone. Hundreds of human pilots reported the same feeling. Thousands of soldiers felt strength wake inside them. Doctors, engineers, civilians, even they felt something shift. Something ancient stirring inside their blood. Dr. Elena Cross stared at the global data stream. Every reading spiked at the same moment. She whispered, "Humanity is synchronizing." General Monroe looked at her. "With what?" She answered softly, "With something we used to be." The Galactic Council chamber was chaos. Delegates screamed. Some begged for evacuation. Some demanded a surrender to humanity. Others argued humans should lead the council. Thesa slammed her hand on the table. "Silence." The room quieted. She pointed at the screen showing the Sentinel, destroying the Karen fleet. "That machine is not attacking civilians. It is not attacking Earth. It is only targeting the invaders." Viral nodded. "It serves the Dreadborn. And the Dreadborn now live on Earth." Voruan leaned forward. "Then we must decide. Do we stand with humans, or against them?" The chamber filled with fearful breathing. Back near Neptune, the Karen fleet tried to retreat. Admiral Scareth roared, "Fall back! Fall back!" But the Sentinel spread its wings of burning light. The energy pulse that followed rippled through the fleet like a storm. Shields failed. Weapons fried. Engines died. The armada that once threatened Earth broke apart like dust scattered in the wind. Scareth fell to his knees. What are humans?" His science officer whispered the truth. The legends were real. When the smoke cleared, the Sentinel hovered still, facing Earth. Quiet, waiting. Marcus felt its presence like a heartbeat in his chest. He whispered, "What do you want from us?" The Sentinel answered, "To remind you." Marcus's mind filled with flashes, ancient battles. Burning skies, titans of darkness. Warriors standing together against impossible odds. Images of the Dreadborn. Images that felt familiar. Marcus gasped. His ancestors had lived those battles. Their memories were buried deep inside every human. And now they were waking. General Monroe watched Marcus's feet and whispered, "Good God. We were never weak." Elena nodded. "We were never beginners. We were sleeping giants." The Galactic Council reopened communication with Earth. A large hologram appeared in the sky above the Human Command Center. Voruan bowed his head. "Respectfully, humans, we owe you an apology. We misunderstood your history. We feared you. General Monroe stepped forward. You should never fear us. We don't want war. Thesis spoke next. But war came to you. And you stood. You fought. You awakened. Viral said quietly, we ask for peace. For alliance. For partnership. Elena looked at Monroe, then back at the council. You attacked us once before speaking. But you speak now. So we will listen. The council bowed. And in that moment, the galaxy changed. Across distant star systems, species watched the broadcasts in awe. In the Var Dominion, warlords kneeled. Do not provoke Earth. In the Telnary moon states, scientists whispered, they carry the ancient flame. We will follow them. Even the pirate clans declared, Earth is off limits, forever. The galaxy did not fall into fear. It fell into respect. As for the Sentinel, it drifted closer to Earth's orbit. Its final message echoed through every mind, human and alien alike. The Dreadborn rise not to conquer, but to protect. Marcus Reed stood in his cockpit, staring at the massive guardian in space. He felt its power. He felt its memory. And he understood something simple and terrifying. Humanity was not chosen by accident. Their kindness, their bravery, their stubborn will, these were not weaknesses. They were the legacy of the Dreadborn. General Monroe whispered, we're not the galaxy's enemy. Elena finished, we're its shield. As the stars shimmered around Earth and the Sentinel watched silently, one truth became clear. The galaxy was safer with humanity awake. If you'd like, I can now.